Elden Ring is one of the best games of this generation, or so I've heard. You see, I've never actually played Elden Ring, or any Souls-like game for the matter. I always grew up watching my older brothers play them, but the drab grays and browns that made up the original Souls games never caught my eye like other games did. But there was something special about Elden Ring. Maybe it was the near-perfect reviews from almost any game reviewer, or the fact that it just looked so much different. Not just from other Soulsborne games, but every other game I've ever played. Even from what little knowledge I had from the game trailers and the occasional Twitch stream, I could tell this was a game like no other. A game that had quite literally no competitors. So after months of trying to ignore the FOMO, I finally caved and bought Elden Ring. And I then decided it would be a good idea to take you guys along my humiliating journey of trying to play my first FromSoftware game. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Elden Ring for someone who's never played a Soulsborne game. So like any decent game of this genre, it starts out almost immediately at the character selection screen, and this is where things already started going downhill. You see, not only do I not have any experience in any Soulsborne games, I also rarely play any RPG games, my experience being limited to just putting all my points into luck and strength in Fallout New Vegas. So naturally, all the fancy numbers on the screen didn't really equate to much, so I just picked the one I thought looked the coolest, that being the samurai. After choosing my class, I was met with one of the most well put together sequences of drawings I've ever seen. The way this starting cutscene sets up the main plot of the world while keeping it vague to allow the player to explore and uncover its secrets is genius, and had me on the edge of my seat wanting more before I even got the chance to control my character. After awaking in my tomb like every other player that's ever graced the lands between, I was almost immediately met with one of the oldest FromSoftware tricks in the book. The jump off the cliff and there's a secret reward, and I'm embarrassed to admit how long I actually considered doing it. Not like it really matters, as I didn't make it another 10 steps before being absolutely skewered by the grafted scion. After that, I was banished to the actual tutorial area of Elden Ring, where I, the strong and brave samurai that I am, fought a long and hard battle against the game's first boss. Once I had stepped across the threshold into the game's actual open world, I was immediately met with a man who proceeded to call me maidenless in the first 10 seconds of me knowing him. Safe to say, I was enraged and saw an enemy on horseback. Setting him in my sights, I valiantly strode towards him and struck him down in a single blow. Well, close enough. Recognizing that I was severely outmatched and ill-prepared, I instead made my way around the 10-foot-tall armored cavalryman over to a little area that led to a field, where I ran into my first taste of what the wildlife was like in the lands between. I think this is a good time to mention I was keeping notes of my thoughts while playing the game, and in them I refer to these creatures as what the fuck bats, because, you know, what the fuck. After slaying my first group of what the fuck bats, I then set my sights on a group of soldiers patrolling a field. After mindlessly killing them for no reason other than the fact that the game says they're enemies, I made my way into the cave that they were searching around, only to find giant fucking dogs eating the corpses of the soldiers they were looking for. After brutally shooting and stabbing the fluffy pups, I ventured my way into the cave where I met my first fog gate. Now, I've never played a Souls game, but anyone who's ever heard of one knows that a fog gate is synonymous with a scary-ass boss. So you can see my player freeze up a bit at the sight of one, and if you listen closely, you can hear my asshole pucker up a bit as well. Gathering up enough courage and pushing my way through the fog gate, I was met with, what the fuck do I even call this thing? In my notes, I refer to him as quote-unquote the scary-ass wolfman, so that is now his name. Surprisingly, the scary-ass wolfman looked a lot harder than he actually was. I was able to beat him in my first try by using my genius fighting method of running away whenever he looks angry. After killing the scary-ass wolfman, I received a talisman I didn't know how to equip for another 2 or 3 hours. Leaving the cave victorious, I stumbled upon the gatefront ruins. Recognizing that there was probably too many enemies to take at once, I decided the best course of action was to then start playing the game like it was Splinter Cell, hiding in bushes and waiting for the guards patrolling cycle to turn their backs to me. After killing the guards patrolling the outskirts and looting 2 weapons I didn't even know how to equip, I sat in this bush for a good minute or 2. I think I was peeing. I don't remember. After strategically wandering around the ruins, I found another puddle of grace. After resting at it, a mysterious woman appeared next to me. She then proceeded to call me maidenless again, and then asked if she could live inside me until I found the Erd Tree. Me, being the honorable samurai that I am, graciously allowed this woman to dissolve herself inside of me, randomly appearing at other puddles of grace. The only thing I wrote in my notes for this encounter was, Melina, Awooga. But before she dissolved, she gave me a ring that summons a magical double-jumping goat that can't die. What the fuck is this game? Anyway. Once I received the goat ring, I summoned him and valiantly galloped down the ruined brick roads where I stumbled upon a bushman. Not a man in a bush, but an actual man made of bush. In my notes, I wrote, found man made of bush, and nothing else. I cut down the bush around him, and he gave me some mushrooms, and I was on my way. To be completely honest with you, at this point, I had no idea what I was doing. The map points you in the direction that the grace is guiding you, and I, for some reason, completely decided to ignore that and run up a hill, where I was met with a fucking death bird, whatever that is. Me and my magic goat promptly got curb stomped by the death bird. After respawning at the gatefront ruins, I tried my luck at killing the lanceman on horseback. After quickly getting shut down by the lanceman, I made a quick escape through the gate. Unbeknownst to me, there was already a giant fucking behemoth, or whatever you want to call it, literally ready to jump on me the moment I entered. And me, being the valiant samurai that I am, just kept going. Past the behemoth, around the guards, and literally through the wooden barricades blocking me. Almost immediately following that, I was jumped by a pack of wolves that seemingly fell from the goddamn sky. But for some reason, in this game, an 8-foot-long, 200-pound wolf dies in a single hit of my katana. Past that, I didn't exactly know what to do, so once again, I summoned my mighty steed and rode into a random direction, where I found one of those horrifying goddamn behemoths. Feeling cowardice from my last encounter with one, I felt that I needed to redeem myself, saying that I would not rest until I brought this behemoth to its knees. But who would have thought that a 20-foot-tall monster with a sword bigger than my body would be strong? No one warned me. So, safe to say it took a couple of tries. But with my genius method of running between its legs, getting a single hit in, and then repeating, I was able to bring down this Goliath. Once the Goliath was dealt with, I made my way towards the only structure I could see on the map. After getting close to the structure, I realized that an enemy player had invaded my world and was trying to kill me. Me, being the honorable samurai that I was, had no idea how to fight other players in this game, resulting in me baiting him to swing his heavy weapon, dodging, and then running away. I repeated this process until he got annoyed and left my world. Yet another win for the samurai. Deciding to return to the main path the game puts you along, I soon encountered my second fog gate, though this time I was able to summon sorcerer Raugier as an ally. Feeling much more confident with him at my side, we pushed our way through the fog gate to be met with my first boss that was actually tied to the story. Margit the Fell Omen is quite the mouthful, so in my notes I just referred to him as cool ass horn boss man. Margit isn't even that hard of a boss, but for some reason I had so much trouble killing him. What may attribute to that is half of my deaths during the fight were me literally just jumping off the map. During this round, I did a successful double dodge roll off the cliff to die before even damaging the boss. But after 20 minutes of throwing myself at him and using Raugier as bait, I successfully killed him with almost no health left. After that, Melina met me at another puddle of grace where she told me she can bring me to a cool spot where all the other dead people go. I accepted it and got a nice warm hug from this lady, then promptly left, feeling a bit weaker. Not physically, but emotionally. Once I was done being cuddled, I returned to the castle entrance. Here, a weird-ass ghoul man told me how to get into the castle quietly. Me, being untrustworthy of literally every entity in this entire godforsaken world, didn't believe him, striding through the main gates only to be met with a volley of crossbow bolts. Returning to the man a little embarrassed, I decided to take his path into the castle, and this is where I encountered my least favorite part of the game. I don't know what happened. It's not particularly difficult area, but I just couldn't make it through for the life of me. I probably died a good 10 times just trying to make it into the main castle. This death felt a little cheap, as I was locked in a room with a fucking giant knight that summoned a goddamn whirlwind with his sword. After finally making it through that hellhole, I was inside the castle walls, only to be met with an area that was even more hostile than the previous one. I spent a good 20 minutes walking around killing and looting, desperately trying to find a puddle of grace. Unfortunately for me, I got greedy and wanted this treasure chest. However, in the most unlucky turn of events I've ever experienced in my years of gaming, I overshot and fell directly into a pit with a grafted monster who almost immediately killed me. But as I said before, I couldn't find a single goddamn puddle, meaning I was beautifully respawned right back at the beginning. How lucky. This is where I'm going to call it for the first video. I really enjoyed my time playing this game and will most definitely continue. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure to like and comment and subscribe. It'd be awesome if we could hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of August. If you guys want a part 2, I would most definitely be down for that. Just let me know. Thank you guys for watching and have a good night.